Good evening, everyone, on this rainy Friday afternoon. I hope you're doing okay. How are you doing? Tell me how you're doing. Tell me if we have sound. Do we? I'm just making sure. Looks like it. Looks like it. Aha! Look at that. Nice timing. Past me from a couple seconds ago. All right, let's get started. Because today is yet another day where keyboard isn't going to be working. But that's okay, because I have a lot I want to talk about. See, this doesn't really work, does it? It's kind of like a clashing of, crosshatchy thing and crosshatchy thing, but it's not really, I don't think it really works. But it's like a lot of things today, just a bunch of clashing stuff that we're trying our best to make sense of. So my outfit should only reflect the crises of all of our contradictions. And in that today, I don't really want to waste too much time because I know what I want to talk about today. And it's kind of the big thing. The big looming thing over all these giant problems that we have that are all intertwined and connected. And that is life itself. Us being able to carry on the IPC, or whatever the acronym is. They released there's a new climate report out, and it's the last one that they're gonna release for like years because they release one like every year or two now, and it's kind of what more can you say, right? A lot of people are saying that the people on the board of it should just they should just walk away and protest because the world leaders aren't responding and haven't been responding. Like we had the code red in like 2018, was it? Where they're like, hey, last minute to do something or it's over. And then 2 years later, they're like, hey, again, last minute to do something, everybody. We got to do something. And then this year, 2 years later again, they're like, all right, well, here's what's happening. You guys already know what's happening. So, yeah. Do I have to go through the sea level rising and every single catastrophic thing that isn't just going to happen, already is happening? All the life being lost, in the oceans and the coral reef. And that's the thing, you don't even have to go that far to see how unbelievably messed up the situation we're in is in terms of the climate, in terms of the world, in terms of how we function. It's a thing. Now they call it what they call like it's a hyper object because we can't even describe all together in like a single sentence all the giant cataclysmic consequences of climate change, global warming, all these things. How about just everything turning into Venus? That's what it sounds like to me. And it's what it looks like over on Venus, where there's a bunch of carbon in the sky. Oh my God, the ice sheets, like, let alone the sea level rising on its own because of its heating up, But Antarctica just not slowly, fastly, quickly, there, Like, oh yeah, there's the methane thing where if it all just, bursts, we're all poisoned because it's so much, there's so much toxic. Did you guys hear that? You okay up there? Yeah, there's movement. They're fine. There's, there's toxic gases and all these things. There's so many unbelievable ways that the world right now, on our own doing, is just falling apart. And I'm here today not to just keep on espousing terror and hopelessness, because that's what we cannot do. It's what exactly the people perpetrating this want us to do, because they don't care. And most of them are old enough anyway that they're going to die before this stuff even takes full effect. But it isn't, taking too long to take full effect? Every summer, every winter. Like, what I know? Guess what? I'm going to look how I'm I'll be able to predict the weather this year. Look at me, I'm a meteorologist of some kind, right? No, I just live here like everybody else. And what's crazy is that every summer, these last 10 years, has been like hotter than the last one. Every winter has been more unpredictable than the last one. We have so many more hurricanes. Like last July was the hottest July on record. How much you want to bet that this July is going to also be the new hottest July on record? I'd put money on that. It's a safe bet. God. I can't say that too loud, though, because then I'll get all the Wall Street people betting on it, right? Because they'll be like, oh, money to be made off this crisis? Let's bet on the destruction of our society, shall we? That's what they'd say. But I'd rather not bet on it. I'd rather not make this thing totally irreversible. Irreversible is the word that is used so often. All this is, I care about all this stuff very, very deeply. But this is why I'm here, because I cannot stand that we're just letting ourselves destroy ourselves and destroy everything on this planet that not only we've built, but everything that just exists in the way it does. The life that's going to exist on the future of this planet, if we even do that, will be. See, here's the thing. I gotta get out of this mindset of like, oh my god, but it's impossible to escape. It's this paranoia. But the fact is, today we could immediately change course. All these, it's like business leaders are like, oh, the world leaders aren't stepping up, so it's up to the businesses to make that change, and we got to be the ones to invest in green energy and renewable resources. And meanwhile, every single one of those giant corporations like BlackRock and Amazon, they're all so ingrained in the responsibility of all this. All the big oil companies that we prop them up, literally speaking. Like, they wouldn't exist if we didn't give them billions of dollars every year. We do. When we pay taxes, we are giving our money to fossil fuel companies every year. Like $20 billion. We're just continuing to say yes to this. Yep, it's okay with me. It's okay with me. It's okay with, it's, well, it's how we, what do you want me to do about it, What are you going to do? I can't, and what they're all afraid of is like the fact that actually renewable energy and technology has only gotten so much cheaper in the last years. It's like it's not only the cheaper option, the less wasteful, less expensive option to save ourselves, but it's also going to be saving ourselves. And the cost of total apocalyptic destruction and terraforming of what we know as a fucking Earth is a much higher price than anything I think you could put on a budget bill. Anything that it's. But we have to do something. We have to, it's not just a something. It's a hyper object. It's this giant. Oh, there's so many things we got to do. There's coal. There's gas. There's meat. There's everything. But everyone, is afraid to like make a start. All these little, there's been so many attempts overseas to try and get us on this path for a long time. And we're the ones really holding out. Not that other countries, don't also. We're all so invested in this death race. It's a war on life, and we have to fight against that, or it's death, or it's all of it, or everyone I know who doesn't. And even this thing, man, people literally don't want to be having kids. Not because they don't want to have kids. They do, but they don't want to bring them into the world, this world. And how can you blame someone for feeling that way? I don't even know if I want to bring a kid into this world anymore. But I we can, if we give the next children a world that is better than this one. And if we don't do that, it will be worse than this one. It will be. All this horrible function of a society we have that I rail on every day, that doesn't even have to do with the climate, really. It will get worse than this. Then it won't just be economic inequality to the fucking max, and it won't just be, crumbling infrastructure since 1981. There will be no infrastructure at all. Now, so many people, already see that this is it's unavoidable. And if it isn't, we keep on saying, it's like, we need to move towards renewable energy. We need to move towards, how you do that? By moving. You actually do it. You don't just say it. You don't just keep giving fossil fuel companies $20 billion in tax dollars every year and then expect the people who you're making suffer as well, who keep paying that money, the money they earned. You can't keep doing that and expect things to remain calm, to remain orderly, No amount of decorum can save us from that if we let it keep going in the way we are. Like, I think if we literally by this year don't make the biggest ruckus you could possibly make. I don't know. Maybe all right. You know what? Maybe this. Let's stop dwelling. I just dwelled for 15 minutes on the anxiety of all this. And it's easy to. It's so hard not to think about all of it. And every person, every figure, there are those, most people understand. There's a lot of those who also understand, and they pretend not to. But it's hard, It's hard for people to be upfront about it and real about it, because what you have to be upfront and real about is the fact that it could all be over. Actually, not a movie. Real life could be over. And now we got all this, nuclear Russia, Ukraine stuff to worry about. And that's not helping. That sucks. It's horrible. Another atrocity, right before our eyes. And we have so much trauma thrown on us as a people in different ways. And so many people it's affecting even more than, that's the thing. Right now we're lucky because we haven't, really felt the horrible effects of the crisis. So many people in rural countries already have and are already going to even more. And some places will literally disappear if we don't do something. All the people thinking we have migration problems and immigration problems right now, guess what? They're going to be way worse if we don't fix this right now. If we don't do everything we can to stop it, to make it not irreversible. And so, with that being said, here's an idea. Everything just starts out as an idea till it becomes a reality. I have an idea. And maybe there's some version of this idea already espoused somewhere. There's enough people worrying about this problem that I'm sure I'm not the first to come up with whatever things I'm coming up with. But I mentioned a while ago, in one of my streams a while ago, I was talking about different ways about how we should amend the man. And one of those ideas, this is an idea to a prelude of an idea, but it's the idea of the People's Senate. A lot of people's argument about the Senate is that compared to the House, it's not very democratic in that there are exactly two seats, two senators per state of the 50 states. Always two, just two. Regardless of population size, regardless of anything, it is two. There is this unilateral representation that isn't proportional in population, in anything. Now, a lot of people look at that and are like, wow, we should just get rid of it. That's so horrible. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What if it's actually not such a horrible idea if you just tweak it a little bit, if you just think about it in a different way? A lot of people just want us to go back to, or not go back to, just have the House and get rid of the Senate because it's just another barrier of corruption in a lot of people's eyes and in practice. But an idea I proposed a while ago that, again, is another idea that probably has been said in different ways. But it's the People's Senate. The idea that what if we amended our Constitution to rewrite the Senate and move most of its legislative responsibilities to the House and make the House really the legislative branch or the elected legislative branch. And with the Senate, what we could do is use part of an idea that the Founding Fathers actually originally had and decided to put in a part of our government, which is the idea of lotocracy. And that means power given not by election, not by appointment, not by bureaucracy, but by lotocracy, lotto, random. And that is the system we use for the jury system. We give the power to someone's life, whether or not they're going to, be held we trust people. In a jury, we trust individual, regular folk, people. And that is an integral part of our system. It is the judicial branch. It is one of the three that we made. And I think we really should make it into four and have a fourth branch, which would be the People's Senate. Imagine if instead of every 6 years, a third of the Senate being elected, just like the House, and being filled with the same people doing, we have this kind of idea of like a legislative job, but we split it and just it's unnecessary. Why not concentrate all of the actual lawmaking into the House and make this People Senate a People Senate, and have every 6 years there be a draw, and if your state is up for the Senate in that time, then two people will be drawn at random, and they can choose to accept it or not, and they could come and serve in the People's Senate for 6 years as a representative of the true common person. In the 70 years ago ish, probably more than that, whenever in the 40s, World War II, it was Henry Wallace, who was almost our president before the Democratic Party booted him for FDR's final term because they were very frightful of him. He had a very famous speech called the Century of the Common Man, and it was a response to people's wanting of the century to be of American dominance, which it ended up being. But what Henry Wallace proposed was that the century should be everything about people, real people, and that's what we're moving towards. It's what we've been moving towards since all of time, is to find a way to live, in a society, in a government where there is the most freedom of the people and there's the most fairness. There is the most ability to pursue happiness. And we don't live in that right now. We live in such a crazy version of a world. Like, in so many ways, our world is the most free and the most equal comparatively, right? If you're looking at the Middle Ages, if you're looking at the 1600s, if you're looking at any time before now, you're like, yeah, it's better. And in fact, it's unbelievable, all this stuff we got, all the goods, all the produce, all the profit, all the craziness of our world, all of our new values we've constructed in the last century. It's amazing. You have to actually be able to appreciate it. Like where we are right now, as horrible and destructive as it is, you have to be able to actually appreciate where we are, and that, we are where we are. And even though, every single factor of good and evil has led us here, we just keep moving forward. And a lot of people are afraid to move forward because they have a fear of the government. And who wouldn't, right? With the way, you've seen it act in the last few years, maybe the last 30 years of your life, maybe more, maybe your whole life. Our government's not giving us much reason to trust it. And yet that's exactly what they've, wanted, because it allows us to look away and just, it's like, yeah, they just spend our tax dollars and everything in a year, but we don't want them, we don't want them to do anything. We're so afraid, rightfully so. And so if we had a people's Senate, you see, the one power that should be moved over from the legislative-ish branch, to the People's Senate would be impeachment. And that's the thing. We trust right now. There's impeachment, actually. There's impeachment law, for judges, for the Supreme Court even. They can be impeached. But who impeaches them? The House and the Senate. Now notice that who can impeach the House and the Senate? Doesn't really work like that, does it? They just get to censure themselves, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. They're left to be, the man is left to hold himself account, and it's a perfect microcosm of many parts of our world in that way. And so, what if we had a people senate where the people, the actual people who have lived here, who know people on the real rungs of society, if, like, okay, not only would it be such a there would be so much like all the news media gossip and Jersey Shoreifying of our politics, that we've done in the last while. All of that would be amplified actually in a different way. That would be crazy, like, exciting, because suddenly there all the there'd be like that's the thing, all these elected Congress people, senators, representatives, they all now, especially in the age of internet, they have this celebrity to them. We treat them like celebrities when we shouldn't. We should treat them like lawmakers who need to be held responsible for acting as the people elected them to. And yet they're just sitting there controlling the reins of who gets there. And meanwhile, lobbyists just get to sit there and tell them what to do and tell them how much money they'll make if they do this or that. Why the hell does the Trade Federation get representation? Who elected them? Who elected the lobbyists? Can we just get rid of that too? How about that? How about we just get rid of lobbyists? That's a thing we can do. People have brought up that idea before. That's not crazy new, but we should just do that. And along with that, see, if we had the People's Senate, all the weird drama of the politics we have, the celebritifying of it, so much of it would move, because suddenly that is where so many people's eyes would be on, in terms of like look, did you see who, it'd be so like people's stories, people who got to, oh my god, like, I get to be in the Senate aisles, like, randomly chosen. It's like, it'd be a whole new thing that people could and you could watch, like it's the thing. Imagine instead of all of our venting getting to happen on Twitter, and we get so detached from it, and we see people as inhuman. If we were able to actually have a discourse, like, imagine the discourse of people, actually, regular people, chosen at random, genuine people, regular people in the government, hashtag RPG. Imagine if they were there actually debating this stuff and telling how they felt about it. Not just, this congressman telling me, well, hey, I got this letter from here, Joey in Wisconsin, and man, the stores, I don't know, I'm trying to do like a Mitch McConnell impression, but trying to figure out what that guy will say is like trying to figure out what a block of wood will eat for breakfast. The answer is, who cares? Yeah, bro. I am in Michigan, running to represent District 27 of the Michigan State Senate, the state legislature, the assembly, whichever phrases they like to call it. Mr. Frostin, yes. I'm not sure where you're from, but I appreciate you asking. What's the thing? Okay, wait, I gotta get a little bit back on track. Okay, see, all this, I've already talked about this idea a while ago with the People's Senate, but when I talked about it a while ago, one of the things that I mentioned was that we have this fear of the government doing stuff, and it is what the people is what not just Republicans, the Republishits and the Demisharts, because I actually could. Never. Oh, Indiana. Hey, that's not too far actually. Um. They, they love to whenever there's a proposal, like whenever there's a ballot initiative or you know a candidate running who is espousing things that the party is like, oh my God, they're threatening our power. You know what that means? It's time to tell the people that they should be so scared and look at what they're gonna invest in stuff and it's gonna come down on your dollar. You're gonna be the one paying for it. Well, guess what? Everybody knows already that you're already the one paying for it. And trickle down economics didn't end up working out, did it? Neoliberalism didn't end up working out, did it, Obama? Did it, Reagan? It didn't. And everyone knows it already. You don't have to prove that to anybody. Now all they're left to do is just trying to fan the flame, like just get so angry that you forget what we're doing completely. And so all that fear that they're able to tap into, what if we could constructively, actually, that's the thing, if we had a people senate, any program, any thing that the government wants to do, who's going to be there to look it over and say their mind on it and question it? The people. They'd be there to literally stop it if it, that's the thing. We could, it'd be a whole new, there's a lot of intricacies you'd have to figure out. But that's the thing. That's what we shouldn't be scared of the intricacies. The intricacies are how so many of the people, put these loopholes in tax law so they can get away with it. But if the intricacies were done by regular people, I'd very much more trust their action and their idea of impact than some, cardboard cutout of a human being who's forgotten all their morals and why they even care at all, and they're just serving donors. Because that's how it works, you can't change how it works. It's just the way it works. You gotta just dip up. Oh, I'm an independent. Sorry. No, I'm an independent. It's an independent campaign. I'm not on either side, Mr. Froston, to answer your question. So yeah, trying to get started here. The second declaration, declaration of our independence from political parties, our independence from financial corruption, our independence from the fucking man. Come on, baby. So here's the thing. Climate change and all this horrible, oh my God, we're gonna, if we don't do something, if we don't move, as they keep on saying, we're moving towards, renewable energy. I don't know why I'm sounding like George Bush right now, because I definitely did that. I stopped Al Gore from doing that a long time ago, Florida, remember that? Florida. Oh. We've had so many chances to do the right thing. And here's another one in front of us right now, that if we don't take, it will be taken for us. So, here's an idea. See, here's a plan that the government, that the president and the legislators, they could all, here's an idea of something that they could go for. And all of the rightful, apprehension and fear and you better not be fucking making any corrupt deals off this. You better not be screwing with people. This better be worth something, right? All the People's Senate would be there to uphold it. But here's the idea, regardless if we have a People's Senate or not. So what did we just do, What did we just, live through a minute ago? Anybody remember? I'm sure you guys remember. I'm sure, Hey man, yeah, that's good. Um, sorry, just running here. Yeah, man. First thing I voted for was legal weed here in Michigan, among the other proposals um like our independent commission to end gerrymandering, which has semi successfully kind of worked out. Um, but yeah, it's exciting, bro. You might if this next election will be your first election, that's dope, man. And if you're living in Indiana, I hope you got some people and some movement there that is hopeful. There is everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's people. See, part of the reason I'm not even that like yeah, sure, I definitely what I'm trying to do right now isn't exactly orthodox. Who knows if it'll work out? But anything is possible. A dude from New Jersey, a trucker, a regular ass man. Um, he won the state senate race. He won the underdog, and it's actually a similar situation to where I'm at. He was running against um, the minority leader's position, who had been holding it for some time, and that is the seat I would be going for in this one. Gerrymandering. Okay. Um, let me get back to you on that. At the end of this, I'll explain gerrymandering a bit more, because it's good for people to understand that who don't, and it's not super complicated, but it takes a minute just to wrap your mind around, because it's so dumb. That's the thing. Most of the things that are complicated in our world, financially or politically, they're just complicated because they make it complicated. Because if you really understood it, you realize how dumb, how stupid it really is, and how much better we could be doing. But as this summer approaches along, and we probably have, who knows how many more heat waves, who knows how many more, deadly hurricanes that we're going to get this year. As it rolls along, I was in 2019. I mentioned this last stream too, actually, for a different reason. But I went on this jazz group trip, playing keyboard in a jazz band in Europe. And when we were in France at one point, it was during a heat wave. It was during like the heat wave of that summer. We were there, and we were in a really old city. It was called Conk, I believe. It was called Conk, and it was like spelled a little differently. Really old, like oldest city I've definitely ever been to in my life, probably ever will be. And it was like 105 degrees, and we were just walking outside, and you could feel the humidity like physically in front of you. And like in Portland last year, it was literally 114. People died. People are dying. Like, oh, that's interesting that it just keeps on getting hotter and hotter every year. Let's just keep on giving $20 billion to fossil fuel companies every year, and keep asking our taxpayers to, just not cause a fit about it. So we have to do something. We have to move away. So here's the idea. We could call it. See, okay, here I'll I'll give you my first temp name for this. Let's see if we can get some. Oh, how's the Spidey friend? That's a good thing to check out. Oh, he's not here at the moment, actually, but I'm pretty sure he's alive, seeing that I still haven't killed him or stepped on him or ate him for dinner or anything. He's a pretty boy. Oh wait, is that him right there? Yeah, I see him. I do see him. He's in a different spot. He's like, hold on, let me take a picture. Oh, look at that boy. It's kind of a crappy picture. You can't really tell. But anyway, okay, because I did that tangent for a second, I feel bad. Let me just quickly explain gerrymandering a bit. Gerrymandering is what happens when, well, when we have elections and we have all the, you elect your representative and your senator and your county commissioner and your, county clerk, your city council members, your mayor, governor, um, like governor and president, right? That's something that where you are all over the state, all over the nation. You vote for the same thing, but gerrymandering basically it just is. It's the nickname given basically for the process uh, of how we actually divide the districts, and how basically. And most of the time, it's been Republicans. It's been the Republishits doing. See, it's like Republishits and Demisharts. Because a Democrat, we voting for a Democrat just feels like a wet shark, and you're like, God, this sucks. But I'm gonna just try and like not tell anybody about it and pretend like everything's okay. And it's like and then publish shit. It's just like it's the fat shit. And you're like, fuck, it's shit. But the truth is, they're both shit. But gerrymandering, most of the Republishits have been doing it, and they've been doing it in Michigan here, where basically the reason it's called gerrymander is because a long time ago, there was one guy, like the 1800s or something, who got a nickname from it because there was a district that looked so wonky, it looked like a salamander. And so the guy's name was Jerry, and they called it gerrymander. Gerrymandering is what caught on. And basically it's, when you look at a map, you'd think district lines and everything, you'd think it'd just be like pretty, like, okay, here's the districts, here's how it makes sense. It has to, like, there should be such an easy way of doing it, one would think. But no, because what these these geniuses, they, to maximize Republican, and sometimes Democrats aren't, not guilty of it. But in Michigan here, the Republicans gerrymandered. Basically, what they do is they draw the lines really wonky and in specific ways to where they're looking at like literal, like where people live and where registered voters are, and where people, like if there's a bunch of people in a certain area that are like Democratic voters, they'll draw the line around it and do this wraparound thing. So their district can really just be a nice crunch of Republicans, or the other one could just be a nice dominant like Democrat. And it makes the district so not diverse in their political alignments, where regularly it would be. Regularly, most districts are very diverse, especially in Michigan. And you shouldn't even be trying to do that. You shouldn't be drawing it from partisan angle at all, which we have been and still. That's the thing. We had this whole independent commission to get rid of it, and it's slightly better than the last 10 years. They redraw the lines every 10 years, and there's a new census this year, which is why there's new districts, which is why as well. See, I was originally, if you look at the thumbnails for these videos and some logos, it says Colton Ray Phillips for state rep, but right here it says state senate because I had a while ago I changed it. I was running for state rep, and then the new district lines came out, and strangely, my place of residency now, not how it was the last 10 years. I used to be on the state rep side in the Grand Blanc and Flint area, because that's where I'm from. But my house is like kind of like on the edge-ish between like Flint and Burton and Grand Blanc. Now the new lines, even though they're like overall slightly better, kinda maybe, arguably, actually where I am, my house is literally now gerrymandered where it wasn't before. And now, if I were to run state rep, I'd have to run in Holly, which nothing, particularly against Holly. It's not where I grew up. It's not where I know people. I can't run a district in a place I don't live. It's dishonest. Plenty of people do it, but I'm not gonna do that. At least, I mean, that's the thing. So I was like, well, if that's the case, then shit, I guess I'm running for state senate, because I can do that in my district. Bro, you're all good. No offense taken, man. All good. Go enjoy your dinner. I hope it's something good. I'm pretty hungry too, honestly. But yeah. So last 15 minutes here. Let me circle back. I've really gone on for a lot of different stuff. But here's the idea. See, we need an act. We need. Here's my temp name for it. And guess what? You guys, I'd love to hear some different names and acronyms for you guys. But, yeah. Okay. See, we need what I think we should do, could do. Here's an idea. Tell me if it's crazy. Tell me if it's something, nothing, anything. I'm eager to hear all of it. The Essential Act. That's my pitch. The Essential Act. And it stands for the Environmental Safety and Solutions to Ensure Not a Total and Irreversible Apocalyptic Life Act. And it's the essential. It's called essential because not only is it essential that we do this, that we move, as we've been saying endlessly, we need to move towards a life that we can live in. We have to move. And so what did we live through recently that was like crazy and cataclysmic? You know, COVID, the pandemic. We just went in total lockdown for what, 2-ish years, you know? And we all just sacrificed so much. Over what? Now the virus has, you know, all these variants, and like we're not locking down, right? See, I think I'm vaxxed, and I got COVID like a month ago. So, you know, I don't really. There's so many frustrations to have on every side of it, you know? I get people's mistrust of the government and the FDA, and I get people's just frustration with like, what the hell did we just do? Like, we just did all that. Oh, you know what other countries did? They actually, in lockdown, paid people. The government gave people their salaries every week or every month that they would have been making otherwise, because, oh, it's not, you know, it isn't your fault that this pandemic happened. It's not, you know, so here. But no, over here, even though it isn't any of our faults that the virus came here, we're forced to lock down, given no support for, you know, the two stimuluses we got, so bare. And not only are they bare, but they're, oh my God, they're giant write-offs. We got, like, I wish I could remember the exact number in front of me. But like the amount of money we got from the stimulus compared to the trillions of dollars that was literally just given, it's a giveaway to corporations. And now, you know, kind of thankfully, there's actually some investigation going into that, into pandemic fraud. Hope that actually goes good. Hopefully there's some justice there. But isn't it crazy? We all just did something that we really didn't even. There was no direction. There was no. It's a whole thing. And so this thing that I kind of want to pitch is a weird. It's an interesting pitch because I don't know. See, here's the thing. We just locked down for an emergency, for an unprecedented amount of time that was so just like, oh, we don't know what's, you know, we're just, do masks do not work, do they, we're going to keep kind of lying and not lying and just changing the thing. And okay, it's like, bro, someone like me who wants to have this trust, so many people who want to have trust, it's broken. Like, imagine, you know, I don't even want to try and imagine doing like a lockdown for this crap again. I don't want to go in lockdown again. But then I didn't want to for the last 2 years that we just endured. And nobody's wanted to. We were all just forced to do something. So what if we pass the Essential Act, okay? Say we pass the Essential Act, and it basically gives giant leviable power to enforce new programs and ideas and funding to help save the goddamn planet and life on it that we call human beings. What if we had planned a very meticulously and months, if not over a year time of like getting everything sort of what were to happen, planning for like a month lockdown? What if we locked down for a month and every person that was sent home would be given stimulus during the month to survive? But guess what? Do you remember what we had during the pandemic? The one peoples who couldn't go home and do nothing was the essential workers. The people that all these corporations just threw away and didn't, like people are surprised at all these union movements. How can you be surprised? How? How can anyone be surprised when our workers who just risked their life for all of us are just treated like trash? So, what if in the Essential Act for our essential workers? See, we can't, the problem with fossil fuels and all this stuff is like, how do you even tackle it? How do you even think of starting to move away from it as a people? Well, I don't know, I've just thought about it some, and here's an idea. What if, for a month, we lock down for the emergency of COVID, or not of COVID, of the climate, the emergency of the war on life that is currently escalating every day, that continually moves toward, if we don't move towards not using fossil fuels, it keeps moving towards irreversibility. And so, in order to ensure a not irreversible apocalyptic life, what if we lock down for a month? And this lockdown, the purpose of it would be for a transition. Like, what if we literally, we give these incentives and subsidies to fossil fuel companies, we give them billions of dollars because we're like, hey, you know what? You guys want to keep doing what we're doing? If you keep doing what we're doing, we'll just give you more money. That's what we do. It's so crazy. We've been printing money to do that. What if we said, hey, maybe instead of us just giving our own money to these corporations, these insanely wealthy individuals who hold so much of the power in our life and are actively destroying us, what if we instead incentivized ourselves and we gave, God, I'm sorry. Fossil fuel cars, right? Well, guess what? We have electric cars now, right? And it's like, electric cars, Tesla, everything. But it's just, most people have gas-powered cars. And most gas-powered companies are still doing their thing. Well, what if we literally incentivized people to say, hey, if you have a gas-powered car, like, if you give it up, we will literally give you an electric car. Like, it could be just like Oprah. And you're like, that sounds stupid. Guess what? You know how a car is made? By a job doing that, and jobs. Remember in the 40s when FDR just made a bunch of jobs for everybody? Remember that when that happened? We got a bunch of public jobs for building our roads and going and making, he hired a bunch of artists to like work in national parks, federal artists. It's like, whoa, we're so blind to like what we could do because we've lived in 40 years of just giving money to profit and nothing else. What if for the month we do it, see, in the planning up to it, the essential workers will be the first ones given. And that's the thing, if you're an essential worker, you'd just be given an electric car. And you'd be like, hey, here you go. Here's an electric car, and here's how I can get to work in the next month and onward while we do this. And in the transition period, that's the thing. The month of lockdown would be so we could manufacture all these cars and create a bunch of these jobs and literally just give our country electric powered vehicles. And along with this essential act, we need to be getting, we need public transportation, like real public fast transportation, like every other developed country has, that is cheaper, more sustainable, faster, better. Everything better you could imagine. Trains, that go zoom, whatever you call them. I don't know the fancy names from, but I know you know what I'm talking about. And I see enough people, frustrated as I am, if not more so. I'm not even having to really. The thing I'm most, I'm like, we've been getting a lot of more tornadoes these last few years, right? There's been a lot more tornadoes in Michigan the last few years. The weather is just going crazy. And I don't like that. And I'd rather we just create a world worth living in. And so, that's the thing. This giant crazy idea, if we had the People's Senate there, and a people's, hand, a people's foot rather, to put their foot down on corruption. That's the thing. We could impeach people for being corrupt, but nobody has any power to really impeach the legislature. It's like, if you want them out, elect them out, right? Well, how come the president who's elected can be impeached, but the legislators are not? The man really holding all the cards. And if we had the people there, a program like this that would be very crazy and very fearful and full of like, oh my God, the government's maybe trying to take over our lives right now, right? See, I just can't live with the fact that we just sat through 2 years of nothing, of a crisis that, yes, is a crisis, but ended up now being what is like a kind of more deadly flu. That's the thing. I know other people who caught it and, had also caught it mid-vax, and it's like, actually affected them way worse than it did me. Still, that's the thing. There's some lingering effects of it. It's so, like, Rona ain't something to mess around about. And yet, here we are, coming back to normal life like nothing. It's like, well, I guess it's a flu thing now. We just did all that lockdown for that. Do you not remember that? Government, people of the government. We just sacrificed so much for less. And I know we could get more and we could get better if we chose to. If we chose to not be afraid. Because all this is so terrifying. But that's what's going to make it our end, is if we let it be terrifying and don't realize what we can do. Don't realize what we just did. The powers we have to do good, to save ourselves. We could save ourselves and we could be so much more. In fact, it could be better. It could be like a world of actual compassion. And not just, there's more to life than profit. So much more. And if we don't realize that, like today, there won't be any life. So yeah. I appreciate you guys' feedback very much. I'm sorry that today was a bit of just a straight through rant. But I just had to get that off my chest, I suppose. Thank you for tolerating my clashing outfit here. my weird I don't know. You know, as it's going on, I don't really mind it now actually. But I don't think it's good. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope to see you next time. Peace and love and harmony.